So I just listened to Ben Shapiro's response to the slap around Will Smith and Chris Rock. They're just some. I just want to unpack some other aspects of this incident. So he's making a point that like the liberals on the left are condoning physical violence and have for a while seen physical violence as like a natural response to opposition or jokes. And then he was also making a point that like in some way the fact that Will and Jada have an open marriage and have had worse jokes told about them, which that is actually true. They've had a lot of way worse shit said about them than this like G.I. Jane situation. I think Will Smith though was literally at, and I Ben Preach made this point. He was at a different point where it was like everyone has got to stop shitting on me. Like y'all need to show me some respect. That is basically what he was saying. Now it could have just been because like they were at the Oscars and it was just like this was a good moment to kind of be like, yo, I've hit the limit, like you need to stop right now. But also I think he could have definitely done it in a more productive way. Like, right, he could have got up and got his acceptance speech and then just said it there. He could have been like, you guys have been coming at me and my lifestyle and my family and my wife, and we just don't appreciate that shit. Like, we're all adults here. And he actually, I think when he got up and he said his speech, he did get into that, right? Where he started to explain himself. I just think, yeah, he acted out of anger, but I'm not gonna try to like take away though the fact that I really do believe what he did was a human response. I think it was like a natural response, and I also think that like there's just I don't know. Listening to Ben Shapiro is a very small like analytical like white male. Like I don't think I can't like it's very hard to describe it because I've just been in so many different communities and like there are social norms in certain communities, but like here's a really good example here. Look at the difference in the way Logan Paul responded to the slap and then Ben Shapiro responded to the slap. Like Ben Shapiro is I don't think he's ever going to be like it doesn't feel like it maybe though. I really don't know. Like the white community is a little bit different from the black community. What I'm saying, I'm trying to give a good example of like men who are part of this like matriarchy and are just like hyper masculine males, right, like 50 Cent is like a really good example of this. Like just man, like Chris Rock is not telling awful jokes about 50 Cent when 50 Cent is in the audience because 50 Cent probably would have done the same shit. Like what Will Smith did, what I'm saying is like all the men who were basically like, yeah, they would have done that shit to, like Quavo. Everyone can like feel their feelings and be like, this doesn't exist or this is on the left or whatever. I don't know if I would say that like Quavo or 50 Cent is on the left. I don't know if I'm saying, I don't think that they are. All their politics seem to go the other way. They're about money and family and respect. Like none of that is signaling like leftist shit to me. We can talk about where their wives came from, but like 50 Cent and Quavo are not in open marriages like Will Smith is. So if these like values, these liberal values are what Ben Shapiro is trying to point to, that doesn't really hold for the other men who like were kind of like in support. Denzel Washington, Bradley Cooper, right? It's like those are like I'm not okay. What the difference I'm trying to make here is because like Ben Shapiro is like he just seems like a dude who's never been in a physical altercation with a man. Like it really feels like if he were to get into a physical altercation with a man would like bitch slap him. Like not even to be funny, but bro, like 50 Cent is like mopping the floor with Ben Shapiro on any day. It's just not. So I don't know if this is even a conversation that Ben Shapiro is not um yeah, he's just not. It's very hard for me to say, like, I don't think we're not coming from the same part of the conversation. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it for men like that. Like, I do feel like Will Smith felt like his masculinity was challenged in that point in time, and that was just a display of us seeing that. All I'm saying is I think that's like a natural response. This is where the feelings wheel comes in. Like, what he did, I do think he should be held accountable. Like, if they're, if the Oscars are like, like, what happened, we can't condone that, and they don't invite him back, that's fair. Like, cause he, like, for real, he actually assaulted someone. So if the Academy is against assault, they should not invite Will Smith back. That's just a fact. Cause he did do what he did, and nobody's trying to change the facts or pretend like he did something else. But this is another part where I think everyone has to be honest. Like, everyone has to be held accountable for what they did, right? Like, and that includes Will Smith. And what he did was, like, wrong. Like, but what he did was also honest. And sometimes those things go together. So, like, you really feel something and you say it and it's mean and somebody's feelings get hurt or somebody's physical nature gets hurt. Other people are making claims like he could have killed Chris Rock. That's not true. Nobody's killing nobody with a slap. It's just not happening. And then Ben Shapiro started making claims where he's like, yeah, some trans woman made physical threats of violence. It's just like, come on, like, y'all really be pushing shit. That's a part of being like a super scary cat, which is like ridiculous. It's like one person says like, don't talk to me like that, and they're like, the aggression in your voice is making me feel. It's like, okay, like, there's other parts of society where people are just bitches, like, and so that exists too at the same time. Like, both of those things exist at the same time, and I think it's a complicated situation, and there's not like one side that's completely right, and there's not one side that's completely wrong. Like, I don't think that Will Smith is completely wrong, and I don't think that Chris Rock is completely right. Like, shit is complicated and shit happens. And, like, I'm just saying, like, if there was a different dude up there, it would have been some different shit. Like, I was reading about, okay, when was I? So I was reading about Azealia Banks being at a party with Russell Crowe, I think. So Russell Crowe had some party in his hotel room, and Azealia Banks was a guest in the hotel room. And someone said something to Azealia Banks, and Azealia Banks started making, like, comments where she was like, oh, you white people would be mad if I, like, slit your throats and did something else. And she was making these, like, violent claims. So then Russell Crowe physically picks her up and carries her out of the hotel room. Now, I don't know, like, Russell Crowe if it's his hotel room, he had the right to do whatever he wants if he feels like he needs to protect his people. But also, like, physically touching someone else, he could have just asked her to leave. But from what I understand, he, like, literally picks her up, removes her from the space. So, I mean, if he's out here doing that, that's also, like, physical harassment toward her. It's like all of it goes a different way. Everybody can have their feelings of why they validated and why they did what they did, but life is just complicated. It is not black and white where it's like, in this particular situation, A, B, C, and D happens. Like, I can just say from personal experience, like, sometimes something is happening and, like, you do not know how to deal with it. Some things are just extremely hard. And I think Abba made another really good point where it's like, yeah, I think that Will Smith could probably use some therapy in this point to really, like, unpack what's going on. Oh, and I wanted to make another point that in this case, he's been studying and training for this role of Venus and Serena's father. And I think it's probably important for us to recognize the cultural significance of Venus and Serena and their father, especially, like, their place in whiteness. Like, Venus and Serena's father, King Richard, he, like, really had to train his daughters on being confident in a world where white people did not look at them as humans and had no respect for them. Like, I don't know if you guys saw that. There's an interview where, you know, Venus's father is sitting right next to his daughter, and the interviewer is like, oh, you know, she's like 11 years old or something, and the interviewer is like, oh, do you think you're gonna win? And she's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna win. She's like, oh, why are you so confident? Why do you think you're gonna win? And Venus's dad steps in. He's like, stop. You stop right now, old man. Like, she said she's gonna win. That's what she means. And it was just like, he was like right there protecting her integrity, protecting her like personhood, protecting her self-confidence. And that is something that is very real. And I think that is something that is very, I think Will Smith did a lot of probably like introspective work where he had to understand for himself, in terms of himself as a leader and a father. Like, he actually said this, you know, like, I think I see where my place is in society right now and the responsibility that I have. And a lot of that actually doesn't have to do with respectability, politics, or laws. It probably has to do with blackness. And it's something that, unfortunately, is just in relation to racism and whiteness. And so other people can be really upset and talk politics and laws and who's invited here and who's invited there and who's not and whatever. But like, the reality is, you know, making all like comments about someone's wife can be threatening, and it's like, it's not kind. And so, you know, maybe Will Smith is just at a different place in his life where he doesn't want that behavior, and he doesn't want to tolerate that behavior. And that's something that too is normal. And it doesn't, like, Ben Shapiro doesn't have to agree with it or understand it. It's not like, he's not in the same situation. He is not a black father. He's not even a member of this. This is what I'm saying. And this is why, I mean, it seems like it's really easy to abstract race from certain conversations. But like I said in the other video, respectability politics is really important in the black community. So Ben Shapiro can make all these statements about how, because he's a public figure, people make jokes about him and his wife. It's not the same as making jokes about Will Smith and his wife. It's not really the same. There's just different cultures. The same people are not making the same types of jokes. And on one hand, I feel like whatever coping mechanisms that Ben Shapiro has come up with to be able to endure the criticism coming toward his family, maybe he could share those tips with Will, or just share them publicly online. Maybe other men who feel like they have solutions on how they would have handled it better could just model the behavior and explain, like, this is how you handle this situation, to clearly an entire community who doesn't understand how to handle that situation. But they also, I think, it just to me feels really naive to just pretend like you don't know why he did what he did. Like, we know. And we know and we understand. I do think, yes, there were worse jokes, but also there's a tipping point, and it was crossed. And I don't know. I think for a lot of reasons, a lot of people will just think more deeply about what they have to say toward black wives in general. I think there's a lot of other stuff. I think, this, to me, this seems layered. As in, like, so many people have been disrespectful to black women for so long. They just, men have said just crazy shit. I don't actually know if a lot of other people, there was a play. So there's a play, if other people have seen this, but there was a live theater play in San Francisco that took place, I saw it like 3 years ago, but it was basically this black girl, and she's giving her, like, she lived a very, very interesting life where, like, she was, like, molested as a child by one of her, the family members in her life. And then when she was in, like, middle school, all of these guys from her school kept calling her and asking her if she wanted to, like, suck their dick. So this is, like, in middle school. It's like, I've never even heard of people calling someone's home as an adolescent to ask that, and they just thought that because she was a black girl that was just a normal thing to do. And I think, in the way, I mean, this is like one person's experience, but actually I feel like Gabrielle Union in her books, she shared this same sort of experience. Like, white and other people, other races in society are very accustomed, and they have normalized disrespect for black women. Disrespect really for the entire black community, but especially for black women. I think you can go back and you can read Gabrielle Union's book, We're Gonna Need More Wine, but this starts in like kindergarten. You know, white kids are just running around saying nigger this, nigger that, nigger this, nigger that, saying all type of shit. They're having playing games about mammies hanging toys from trees. Like, y'all don't see this because, like, y'all don't, maybe a lot of you guys don't go to integrated schools, but like, white kids be out here wilding. Like, they're not changing. It's not getting better. Nobody's parents are teaching them better. No one wants to change or do better. Like, the Karens are out here propagating hate. It's just like, maybe you should go watch King Williams and see why he had to be so fucking like stone cold about like allowing his black children to be confident, because the entire fucking society was out to like take away their confidence. The whole society. If you haven't seen it now, the bitch from the New York Times got Serena and Venus mixed up. Like, you're a grown-ass woman with a job at a publication. Like, goddamn. Like, yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, if you don't see, like, Serena and her husband have had to, like, literally create cartoon representations just so that their biracial daughter can see some fucking brown people on television. On Instagram, they have literally had to create animations. I don't think y'all realize how nuts that is. Like, they literally have created an economy for one child that has helped fucking 60% of the country. Really, probably, I don't know, more than that, 70% of the world. And like, Hollywood doesn't understand how this is a problem. Nobody's like, oh, I don't know, we don't need representation. It's just like, yeah, no one understands how like these issues that we're unpacking at these little Oscar shows and on Instagram and with like black health in hospitals, these are the issues impacting society as a whole. It's just most of y'all don't care to talk about it, and you think you can just brush over it and just move forward. That's fine. Everybody can keep trying to do that as if black people are going to disappear, but that's not going to, maybe poor black people will disappear, but if it's not clear, I'm telling you, like, an emerging class, they're already here. Like, nobody's confused. Like, you really think Offset and Culture of the whole fucking Quavo, I don't know, what are they called? The Bad and Bougie gang are going away? They've got like 2 million more albums that haven't been released. You think Drake's gonna stop? Like, he's got a whole crew. The whole Toronto. Like, they're never gonna stop. You think LeBron James is gonna go away? No. They're never leaving. Like, it's never gonna stop. And the mainstream society can continue to be like, we don't care about black issues. We don't ever have to integrate. That's fine. Also, your kids don't have to listen to hip-hop music. They don't have to watch no sports. They don't have to go outside in the world. Because I'm not leaving either. I don't know everybody. I'm not going anywhere. So I'm going to just keep posting videos at night, making memes, making YouTube videos. We're not leaving. We're not going to be quiet. The solution is to start to bring these conversations to the forefront. Okay, just like in the same way, what is that stupid white girl on the Hollywood Entertainment who said Zendaya, because she had the dreadlocks, that she looked like she smelled like ravioli or something? Like, she really thought that was like appropriate to say, because like that's who they are. Like, they really think that shit is like normal to say. It's like, wow, Karen, like, that's really like, we gotta keep having these conversations. It's the only way. It's either that or, I don't know, probably like the next generation of kids, or I'm telling you, there's going to be like a new Disney, and maybe it won't come from Disney. Maybe LeBron James will start, or some other black, Medea will start a new cartoon channel, but there's going to be cartoons about the white Ukrainian princesses who are now in underground caves. I called it underground. I'm naming it now. There's going to be a new Disney film about a white Ukrainian princess who has to survive a bomb shelter. there's the new princess for all the little white kids to look up to. We can call her Bommy or something. And it's just like, remember how they gave Tiana a fucking frog? Well, now this Ukrainian white girl gets a bomb shelter. This is the new Disney movie that everybody can, like, it's not stopping. And, like, the only way to make it better is to start talking about it. It's